You know what else is iconic? Me wearing the Squirrel Master shirt. It's like pivot, like we're shifting to get centered on the TV and the monitors. It's like
it's one of the most iconic Friends scenes.
It is. You know what else is iconic? Me wearing the Squirrel Master shirt.
Oh, it's actually funny because we were sitting here saying pivot because we were not centered on the table, but we've discovered this morning.
So, hey, does the text look centered?
It's a little off.
It's
a little off.
It's kind of like they started, and I'm sitting there going, are all the shirts like this?
I don't think so. I'm going to say it's just that one.
I think it's just this one.
Yeah, because I have a Grill Masters shirt.
And it's centered.
I think so.
Yeah. Ooh.
We're just going to say that's the case.
Well, the thing is, we're getting ready to ship.
It's been a little too long.
Literally,
did you get it ready?
Get what ready?
Everything on Amazon.
Well, they came up in our meeting this morning about getting all the shirts loaded into Amazon because Father's Day.
Yeah, we need a big Father's Day.
Everything else is happening.
Boom. Although Mother's Day comes first, so let's pay tribute.
We actually just talked about Mother's Day, and I asked you, I was like, "Hey, your mom, like this is this day," and I literally.
Oh, I'm a mom now.
Yes, you're a mom, and I was like, "Hey, like, what are your expectations for Mother's Day? Like, are you expecting me to get you something from a 3-month-old
infant?
Like, is this kind of what you're expecting?"
And I said no.
And you said no, but it's like every man knows that this is a dangerous path to walk because no doesn't mean no.
Well, first of all, I said that when the kids are old enough and they can like participate in an activity to like
that you wanted
make
an activity.
Something or do something or treat me to something or whatever. When they're old enough.
So no flowers, you're going to be okay.
I'll be okay without flowers.
No card, you're going to be okay.
I mean, a card maybe would be nice.
See, we're already talking about gray area here. Gray area. No present, okay.
I'm okay with no present.
No breakfast in bed, okay.
I said sometimes like thoughtful actions like breakfast in bed where like it was more about
3 months old, newborn.
I said I'm fine with nothing this year, but the reality is
what if I gave you some strawberries and it looked like it had like some liquid white chocolate, gross. But it was really just baby. Bleh.
You're disgusting. What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. No, I was actually looking. What?
Well, I'm just imagining her kind of like hanging over the strawberries and just.
Anyway, my mom obviously lives here, and so I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do for my own mom for Mother's Day? And I realized Catherine and Brandon, our cousins, are in town that weekend, and they were here last time for Mother's Day. So I messaged her, but they're going to be on the beach.
Are they going to be doing something special or anything?
I don't. I think there's something special is being here.
They actually get it on Wednesday, and I have the Publix annual meeting on Wednesday that I'm attending that we've paid for, and it very specifically said for Publix wholesalers only.
Oh, and we're not.
Well, I identify as a Publix wholesaler.
Oh my gosh!
So I am showing up in full dusted apparel and gear and meeting and greet. And Barrett said, "These are the two people you need to shake their hands." And I'm like, it's so weird because it's like, what do I say? Like, yeah, I'm in product review, or like, hey, I'm here because it's like they're like, oh, Dustin, we love you. Like, and like, I'm like, you don't carry us, like, you know what I mean? It'll be interesting because like I'm literally going to be walking into what I feel is going to be like the lion's den.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like all blinged out and like black and ready.
You consider that blinged out?
When I have matching apparel and a matching watch, yeah, I'm blinged.
Yeah.
I'm going to be what I would like to call like astute, like debonair.
Astute, debonair.
Like I will look the part. Should I wear cowboy boots? I wonder if I can get black cowboy boots.
No. Just doesn't fit the ensemble. No.
The problem is I have brown shoes.
Yeah. I mean, you might want some different shoes, but not cowboy boots.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to need some help.
The whole time when you just said, I identify as whatever, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, what were we just talking about the other day? And someone said something about how like technology is so good. Oh, it was the couple at the lake. we were at the lake this weekend getting everything set up, and they were like, pretty soon we'll be able to do closings or whatever online, or court will be online. And I was like, you already practically can.
We're already there.
I know. And then I started laughing, thinking about, I said that during COVID, they were doing
there
court
was like
cases.
a congressman that showed up as like a chicken or a cat.
A cat. Remember, we'll have to have Maria show the scene, which is hilarious. His filter was on as a cat, and he was like, "Your Honor, I am not a cat." And he
and it's like, I don't know how to turn this off.
I know, he couldn't figure out how to turn it off, which is hilarious. But it got me to thinking, it's like the woman was like, "Yeah, he doesn't identify as a furry," and I'm like, "No," but the fact that like. And I shouldn't even bring this up, but at the time it was a funny filter. Now it's like truly that person would be like, I am not doing this intentionally. I do not identify as a cat. I feel like just a few years ago that wasn't even a thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
So
we won't give our opinions.
So bizarre.
And it's
no, I give opinions all the time.
I identify as a human, so I don't understand it, but I respect anybody and what they choose to do.
I don't know why. I'm going to bring up a total random subject, but while I was driving to work this morning, I was thinking about, I read an article about Elon Musk and like colonizing Mars and everything else. And I thought, how cool would it be to be buried on Mars?
Hold on a second. Is that real? Elon is trying to put people on Mars?
Yes, they're building space colonies on Mars. Like everything that they're working towards.
Am I like
in 2025, they're planning to literally send the first people to, I'm sorry, 26 next year. Send the first people on a manned mission to Mars.
I'm sorry. There is like, we talk about this all the time, like early adopters in software, when you like come up with something amazing, like who the fuck are the early adopters that are like, I'll give it a go living on Mars.
There's a VMI grad that's on.
No.
Yes. That they've been training for years.
No.
Yes.
To go live out there?
It's a one-way mission.
What do you mean?
No. Yes. There's not a plan to come back.
No.
Yeah.
They'll bring them back.
It's a 6-month journey
to get there.
To get there,
this is blowing my mind right now.
Are you serious?
Do you know about this?
I mean, read this stuff all the time. I
just looked at Maria to get some sort of validation that I'm not the only person under a rock.
Like,
it's fascinating.
Well, they're also talking about going back to the moon and putting people on the moon and creating space
I'm just
stations.
laughing to myself.
There's an entire program of robots, and part of building humanoid robots is the ability to build bases on remotely. Do you know they just flew the first helicopter on Mars?
No. So
that was actually 2 years ago.
So they're going to, let me just make sure I've got this straight.
Yes.
They're going to build a colony on Mars where they believe human life will be able to live and function, but not without like masks on.
Correct.
The air is not our air. And so they're going to function on Mars in a colony where they like build roads and like do things. Like there's like rovers that can drive on Mars. So I'm assuming they're going to pave and like bring like supplies.
Well, I think you're getting a little bit far out when you're talking like paving.
Well, you were talking about building robots.
Yes. So think about the
you need a factory to build a robot.
So let's say that you ship a container, right? And in that container, there's all the parts.
You're saying ship.
Okay. Let's just.
It's a 6-month journey.
Okay. Let's just say you have a tent, right?
A tent.
And you're going to go camping, right? Mm-hmm. Someone needs to set the tent up.
Right.
Okay. So we have robots. Okay. And these robots are going, okay, here's the tent. I'm going to set the tent up.
Do the robots.
So that the person can arrive and come into the tent.
Okay. So the robots are not built on Mars. They are not manufactured on Mars.
No.
They are built here.
Yes.
And then the robots are your welcome committee?
To a degree, yes. They're the ones that are getting things in place. So like
your tent is
if
ready.
You could imagine, like just say you were building Legos and you're like, hey, I need this Lego to survive. Okay. They're going to go there. They're going to build the Legos on Mars. And so that the buildings and stuff are operational by the time you get there.
Okay.
Right? And so these robots are humanoid robots because you have to be able to lift up things. You have to be able to connect rods. You have to be able to connect pieces.
Right.
You got to lift things out of a thing. It can't just all be like,
the humans
like a transformer.
Why can't the humans just build their tents when they get there?
Look.
They're lazy.
No, it's Mars. Like there's so much testing and things that have to happen to make sure that everything works.
Okay.
Make sure that you can actually sleep at night. What if it's not pressurized and all of a sudden, like, what are you gonna sleep in your suit? Just plug your suit into an oxygen container. Like,
so these people are going to take their suits off at night and just.
I certainly hope so.
Just trust that this pressurized tent that a robot built for them on Mars is going to work and not like
first of all, it's
faulty in the
way
middle of
better
the
than
night?
a tent. I was just trying to give you an analogy of like there's some level of construction that needs to take place.
Okay, well, I said paved roads. You said I went too far.
There's no paved roads.
Okay,
Like
so
that's gonna like they're not shipping in a paving machine.
So we're somewhere in between a tent
plus
and a paved
asphalt,
road.
plus
That's
the
what I was saying.
propane to melt the asphalt and layers. What about the stick guy? What do you think? Robot stick guy? Start, stop.
Look, I didn't even know until a second ago that this whole Mars thing was happening. So I'm impressed. All I was going to say is there's people who really don't like Elon right
Maybe it's
now.
like
And he's just,
2027. I don't know.
Elon's literally going to be like, look, haters, I've got an entire planet.
I guarantee you that if
If
Elon's,
people get mad at him, he can just be like, yo, I've got.
I guarantee you, he will most likely want to spend his last days on Mars.
You think?
100%.
He's
Yeah.
probably starting to build his luxury cabin now.
No, there's no luxury there.
On Mars?
Look, his
How do you know?
his whole thing is he wants his legacy is making humans a multi-planetary species.
Is that his plan?
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's his plan.
Wow.
Like that's his legacy. Like think about this. Like
It's
when
like
you go
in the
back and remember
movies.
people,
It's
like
pretty
you remember
crazy.
like, hey,
In the history
you know,
books.
Thomas Edison brought us the light bulb, right? Like he is forever known as
For
that
light.
person.
That's a pretty big
Forever.
deal.
That's a big deal. There are people who are known, you know, Nikola Tesla,
Einstein.
okay, known for AC current. Like literally, like everything here powers is because of Nikola Tesla's work.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and we can even go further back in history when we talk about like Newton, right? Or
Isaac.
Einstein.
I know
Or
Newton's
like there are
first name.
people known for things. Literally,
I said
we will know
Einstein.
we will know Elon, and maybe not us, but maybe our kids will sit there and go, "Oh yeah, if it wasn't for Elon Musk, he's the one that started interplanetary travel, and that's why we're able to leave the solar system now."
That is crazy.
Like-
there was that for a long time ago, not a long time ago, a couple of years ago, I feel like they were looking at taking like the first like airline flights where they would leave our orbit or or whatever, go up in space and come back down to make flights shorter to go to like Africa or something. That like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
That's
It didn't
so
happen.
Cost prohibitive.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
happen.
And who wants to do that?
I don't.
I don't want to do that.
Again, would not be an early adopter.
No,
on
because
that
one
front.
little mistake, you're in space. You're
That's
just
how I
floating
feel about the people
forever.
going to Mars.
The actual first space pilot he actually entered space on accident and almost drifted out and died.
And he got back
This is
in.
back in like the 60s.
Wow.
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
60s, he went into space.
Yeah, they were flying it really high,
And he was like,
and
oops.
the
I
atmosphere
feel like
gets
that's like so
thin.
wild. It's like
They were
diving.
testing ram engines at the time, I believe, ram jets.
Okay.
Which I already know you probably know nothing about ram
Oh,
jets.
I'm an expert in ramjets.
Okay, so ramjet technology, and they're using it basically in low atmospheric conditions.
Right.
And
they went
He
high.
kept pitching up, and he couldn't get pitched down. So he was going into space.
But seriously, it's wild to think about like going up, because the world is just a crazy place. And the oceans, obviously, on Earth, you go down, down, down. Now you're going down into the Earth's core, not like into the abyss of the, solar system. But I feel like when you're diving, you can like lose track of how deep you're going.
You can,
And
it's
all of a
amazing
sudden-
how quick you can go.
Oh my God.
20, 30
you do
feet
like,
so
you're
quickly.
like, oh, I'm at 30 feet. Oh, that's a beautiful whale shark. I'm going to follow it. Boom. You're at 100 feet. And you're like,
Speaking
shit.
of diving, the guys picked a weekend, and then Rich said we should go diving out in Seattle, where there's a ton of octopuses, but we'd have to wear dive gear or dive wetsuits.
A
and
massive wetsuit.
And I'm like, I don't know if I have any desire to go diving in cold water.
By the way, to see an octopus,
Yeah.
that sounds horrible.
Yeah. And he's like the San Juan Islands, and he's like, we got a place to stay out here.
First of all, the San Juans are phenomenal.
Yeah.
But diving,
I know, right?
ew.
I don't think so. The water's not clear enough.
And it's fucking cold.
Yeah. And I want to sit and drink Mai Tais.
But look, it's not a bad place to be in the
Not
summer.
a bad place to be, but not.
You could be like,
Supposedly
I'm not
August
gonna
is the
go.
best time. I don't think I want to go.
Fishing might be nice there.
I don't want to go.
Oyster farms.
Didn't we fish and we were like in 100 foot of water or something?
No, remember we went whale watching and we saw a log. Yeah. And we went out. We drove for hours
That's
and
a sore
hours.
subject in the family, I think. We did. We saw a sleeping whale.
It was a sleeping whale.
We saw a sleeping whale.
And we waited.
They're
and
like,
waited,
no, we promise you that's a whale.
For
And we're
it
like,
to wake up.
we're like, can we wake it up?
We were like,
we're like so spoiled. They're like, no, it's illegal. We can't even get close to it.
We can't get close.
And we're like, can we? Is there anything
we're like, we
can
paid
throw?
a lot of money.
We paid a lot of money
to see this
not
whale
to see sleeping whale
for 2 hours.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't want to go.
Wonderful
I don't
day.
want to go to a dive trip out there.
Anyway,
that seems lame.
Yeah,
to me.
the tropics is nice.
Yeah.
But we did. We moved back into our. Wow, did we go off topic on that one? But
Yeah.
we
That spiraled.
we moved back into our
Cottage.
little lake cottage this weekend. And we're going back again because it's the annual meeting.
The
and
the homeowners meeting is this weekend.
You are running
and
for president.
I'm running for president.
I feel like I need to make T-shirts like Napoleon Dynamite, Pedro for president.
Yeah.
I feel like I need Chris for president.
I feel like Beth's going to show up with a T-shirt.
No, there's certain owners. So, okay, little backstory here is that it's been being run by the same guy for a few years now. And he's fine, He's fine. But Chris wanted to take over as president.
No, I don't want to take over president. I'm being forced to because the president, while he just wants to do everything himself, there's a lot of stuff.
I was trying to stay cordial.
There's a lot of stuff no one knows about. And I always tell people, and this is a good thing to have in business, is like
it's true.
Transparency. First of all, perception is reality. And if you are perceived as not being transparent, that is reality. And you could be doing everything right, but the fact that you fail to communicate or share information will be perceived as a negative. And this person, I will tell you, the majority of people, they don't have anything bad to say. They're just very suspect. They're very sus.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's
so
a little small town.
We're
so
trying
anyway,
to add. We're only talking about 22 homes.
We tried to be very cordial. Well, I say
cottages.
Chris tried to be very cordial, and he said, hey, I'd like to step up. Here's some things that I want to do to make the community better. And so how about we do this together and we slow roll you down because there's a lot of people that want me to take over.
Still stay president this year. I'll take a lower role. But you announced everyone that you're stepping down next year.
Because he had agreed to another homeowner saying he was going to do it. Anyway, long story short, Chris has a phone call with this guy and he literally goes, as long as I'm alive, I have no intentions on stepping down as president. So Chris was like, it's war.
Well, no, first of all, after 45 minutes, I was like, you really should have led with that.
Yeah, no shit.
This conversation could have been 5 minutes if you just said, hey, I'm not really interested. I'm going to keep running as president. And then I've been like, that's great. That's all I actually need to know.
And now I'm going to go.
I sent him a list of 10 items. That was number one. He went straight to number 2. And I had a thing, I thought, well, maybe he's just saving it for the end. But the thing is, he didn't want to address it.
No.
I'm the one that brought up the first one. And then I ended the call within 15 seconds.
You're like, thanks for the information. So then he gets off the call. He sends an email out to every homeowner but him. Then he sends a snail mail letter out. He includes.
No, I included him on the email.
Okay, but
that I said I was running because he needed to know.
He gets he wrote a letter to everybody about all the things that he's going to do for our community. And if someone can't make it to vote in person, the vote is happening this weekend, people. We will let you know next week if he becomes president or not. But last weekend, all these other homeowners are counting the votes. They're like, we got Roxy. We got this. It's like, oh my gosh.
You're literally like, okay, who's going to be there? Who's not going to be there? Okay, we got, matter of fact, Woody got a proxy from Sandy.
Did he?
The owners of 204. And he sent me a picture. He's like, look what I got. Look what I got. It's like power. It's like literally, I feel like we're in Survivor. We are in Community Survivor.
I need to bring a goblet or whatever and be like, okay, please go up to place your votes. Where people,
no, they're literally doing that at the thing.
They are.
It's secret vote. Everyone's going to put their votes in.
Is?
Yeah.
So I get to go up and vote and write it down?
Yeah.
So you won't know if I voted for you?
Well, I know you voted for me because if you didn't, there's going to be trouble in paradise.
Trouble in paradise.
But yeah. So I mean, they're literally taking this seriously, and they wanted to bust out the bylaws. Like, what's the order? Are proxies even allowed? And it's clearly proxies are allowed.
It's clearly stated.
And so literally before the studio was set up I'm filming a Lakeshore video.
Okay.
For the residents and basically reiterating everything in the letter. But I'm sending that email out individually to each person.
Oh my god!
Except for Kevin, of course.
Oh my!
You know,
hey, no names.
All right, whatever. Yeah.
No, but so one of the other owners that really wants Chris to become president, we've tagged the slogan, make Lakeshore great again. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely.
So it's become a thing.
It's become a thing in our community.
But we're happy to be moved back in. Has been our safe haven. Hopefully there is no animosity after this weekend's vote.
Oh,
we can still enjoy.
It's going to be something.
Yeah, it'll definitely be something. But anyway, well, we've also been back on the business front messing around with AI. And I saw the other day, speaking of technology and putting people on Mars, Zuckerberg came out and said that they had over 1 billion people are using Meta AI via the platforms that they currently have. Mm-hmm. So he's created a separate app that's like Meta AI. And he's literally like, this thing can start to get to know you as an individual.
It does.
And it like starts to ask a few questions about like, you know, who you are. Anyway, it's kind of scary. He's like, this is a really long journey, but I feel like everyone's phones are going to be like, your favorite thing to eat is lasagna. And when you take out, you get Indian. But it's like.
Seriously, it will know. It'll be like, what should I have for dinner tonight?
Everything.
And it's going to go, hey, why don't we order in from Giorgiano's and get your favorite pizza?
No, literally. And it will be like, I can do this for you. Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be insane.
I have not used Meta AI, but I have noticed, I don't know if you've seen this, where it gives the summary of like, hey, based off of these 500 comments on this, this is what people are talking about. And it aggregates all the things. So you literally can just read that.
That's what Amazon's using AI. They've got customer reviews. And instead of having to go through the reviews now, it's phenomenal. You just look and it's like, this is a 4.5 star. Here's what customers are saying. And it's a full summary of the reviews. Yeah. Like it could be 20,000 reviews.
It's very like, scary in our world with the internet and us having a software company. Cause I literally just had the question from Austin yesterday. We had our meeting.
A client who's getting a software built.
And we did the online meeting. Everyone dropped off. It's just me and him. And he's like, hey, what do you think? He's like, about these low code, no code, like you can just write up. And it's like, are we wasting our money by programming when this can be just written with AI? Mm-hmm. And I told him, I was like, hey, in full transparency, we're watching it. No, your app could not be built with AI.
Not today.
Not today. No. I said 2 years from now, probably, bro.
Who knows?
I said, but the problem is you still need people that know, can envision, that can troubleshoot. And I talked to Megan about this morning, who's on our dev team. And I said, hey, like this is something we need to be aware of because it's going to affect us. But there's always going to be a need for smart people. And I always tell this, it's not build it and they will come. Everyone thinks, oh, if I build an app, people are going to go. It's not that.
No.
It is, what's your business strategy? What's your marketing plan? How are you getting people to use this? Are we going to see a lot of copycat apps and things that come out? Sure, but no one's going to use them because it's all about the marketing and the ability to get the product out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're using AI extensively in our Kaloop platform, which is designed for communities and associations. And I mean, it's going to change. But you know what? A huge component of it is our CAM, which is real people doing real tasks. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that we're going to totally disrupt this property management area. Yeah. Like this will be, I do believe Kaloop will be the biggest venture that'll come out of our incubator here. By the way, did I tell you that I'm shifting public products a little bit?
We can talk about it later.
Okay. No. I think we're going to label it more of like an incubator because that's what we are. And I think it'll help explain our mission to people. If we use the word incubator, I think that like people look at us and who I've talked to, they go, wow, you're working a lot of stuff. But if I said we're an incubator, they're like, oh, you're doing your job. Like it's so strange.
No, terminology.
Perception.
Yeah.
Terminology.
It makes a world of a difference. I do believe
adding the word incubator is going to help explain what our goal and purpose is.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it out on our SBA loan with the bank.
I like it.
Yeah.
No, you didn't share that, but it's smart.
Yeah.
Very
thanks.
smart. So people don't think you're brilliant. No, it's so crazy because you had heard that statistic the other day about AI replacing what percentage of doctors in hospitals or something like that? Oh
gosh, it was basically a prediction that says it was high. It was like 90%.
It was like in the next few years,
In the
not
next few
not
years.
20 years.
Not 20
it
years.
was literally like 5 years or something like that. In
Yeah.
the next 5 years, like 80%.
Of doctors, attorney, like these are things where it's just knowledge.
Right.
And it will be replaced by AI's
Well, and
cumulative collective.
I said to you, I was like, when is the last time? I can't tell you like when I've gone to a doctor, aside from like, sure, my OBGYN who's phenomenal and knows everything. But like, I go to the doctor these days, and if you ask something that's like your primary care that's like out of the question, or even when I was like going to the eye doctor, they were like, well, let's see. And they like,
and they're going to their computer and doing.
they freaking Google it
So it's
right
like, why
in
do I
front
pay
of you.
you?
Yeah. Like I
when-
get it. You're certified. You have medical background. You understand some of the terminology that you're reading.
I think-
and you can make prescriptions. But literally, you're Googling right in front of me. And is
Yeah.
Google that accurate? Are we trusting the accumulation of information?
we are,
We are.
unfortunately.
That's the thing.
But here's the thing, and that doctors are still going to need to be there to be able to create and make sure that that data is maintained, that it's updated.
It's not a full
I think it's going to
replacement,
be, yeah, I think it's going to be like a
Support.
yeah, it's almost kind of like you're going to go to the doctor. This information is going to get logged because the doctor's looking at something, and you could take a picture and get it scanned, and it'll tell you, yeah, you know,
Which, by the way, I do love technology for. Like, there have been times where, you know, if a photograph is sent via a portal, I have a prescription waiting for me at 8 a.m. the next day, and I never even had to leave my house. Like,
But
teledoc.
doctors are going to be needed because there needs to be a physical element.
Oh, yes.
To release
Always.
drugs. Otherwise, you could upload anything you want and be like, hey, look, take a picture of this, and it could be someone
Right.
else.
Right. True.
But I will tell you, the thing about technology and AI is that it never forgets. And so, you know, if it's seeing your body, and let's say I know your knee, if you try to give it another picture of someone else's knee, it's going to be like,
would say-
that's not your knee.
that, which is so wild.
It
would.
It will know that.
Yeah. You could be like, I got knee surgery.
You know,
Don't
everything
you remember?
from Face ID, like sitting there and being like, okay, make sure it's you. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yes, this is me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yes, this is the big pus-filled sack on my shoulder, you know?
I know.
And it's like, oh, yeah, that's really you. And
I
you
can't
have
remember
a
if it was
problem.
new glasses or Invisalign, but my parents got Invisalign the other day or whatever. And I think my mom had to redo her Face ID. Isn't that wild?
Because her teeth were straight.
Not straight. First of all, their teeth are great. They're
I
just,
know. I'm saying, like, what would cause that?
I don't know, something that's different on your
we're gonna
face.
have to ask
A
her.
little bit different.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It could have been something else.
Well, it's like
glasses.
even with beards and things like that. Like if you shave, like it like knows your face still.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I wear glasses and at the computer
knows you.
it still knows me.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a hat, it still knows me. Like
I
it's
always
freaky
say it.
stuff.
I know. It's so wild.
It's so good.
It is so wild.
Um,
But I think like when you talk about knowledge, I sit there and go, what is actually our niece and our nephew both are ending freshman and sophomore year of college today, moving out of the dorms and everything. And it's like, gosh, college has changed so much just in terms of like
wait, who's moving out?
Ellie and Dakota are for the summer.
Oh, but they're not done. They're just moving out for the summers.
No, you
oh,
missed
yeah.
college.
Oh
It's
gosh!
summer.
Before we started here, there's literally like
missed the
20
family
some
text.
messages in the family chats.
Yes.
And,
But everyone else is like, my children are graduating college. I was like, here's Abigail doing tummy time.
dummy time.
We're 20 years behind. But anyway, I was going to say professors, I'm
Yeah.
sure, are going to be replaced in some way, shape, or
Oh
it's,
gosh!
I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to have.
You need it. It's going to be a combination of everything.
A lot of people are like, hey, pat me on the back. I got my degree before AI existed.
The last day of move out at BMI, we used to play this song by the Smashing Pumpkins. It's like the greatest day. And it's like, today is the greatest day. Because we were so happy to leave that
Actually,
prison.
do I know it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, we'll sing it like
no,
for real.
No, I can't.
Because that did not give it away.
I know.
Today is the greatest day.
Yeah, well, I get to whine more. You know, anyway. You gotta be more whiny.
Hey, I don't know it. Do not know it at all.
Anyways, that was our song. And Maria, if you make a clip of that, I will send it to the boys so they can see it.
Today is the greatest day.
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Yeah, man, we love that." I mean, I could see us standing, sweeping the floors, wearing nothing but like shorts and shirtless, and getting ready to go home for the summertime. I actually had no ride to get home. I would call my mom and be like, "Hey, like college is ending, like in like next week. Like, how am I getting home?"
He was in
and my mom would be
Virginia.
like, "I don't know you." Like, literally, like, we get close to pickup time. I'd be like making the collect calls because this is the '90s, making collect calls and be like, "You have a collect call from Mom, it's me, Chris. I need to get home. Would you like to accept the charges? No. Click.
She would not. Okay, you guys.
No, because
first of all, his mother loves him very much, and she's a wonderful woman.
I didn't say she didn't love me.
I know. She just didn't.
She didn't pick me up from college.
She wasn't coming to
I'm
get
not
you.
even joking when I tell you I hitchhiked home every year till I had a car.
Well, you went with friends or friends' parents or something.
That's called hitchhiking. Okay. I remember one year I literally was standing out with my trunk and I was like asking you like, hey, are you, because there's only like 6 people going to Florida. So I would like go to them and be like, hey, do you have any room? Like, bro, sorry. Like my parents are coming up in like a Honda, you know? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I remember my one buddy, and it was Jason, and he lived on the other coast.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I can get you to the other coast. He's like, we can't make a trip over the other coast because he was on the
But
East
you're
Coast.
like, okay, Miami's
So I was like,
closer
all right, I can
than
get there.
Virginia.
And he goes, and we're taking this hatchbacks. He goes, you have to shed some weight. And I looked at half my stuff, and I was just like, okay, I guess it's going to the trash. Like,
Oh my god!
I literally had to throw away like half my
Really?
stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
And,
that's sad.
I know. I appreciate your like knowing.
No, I
like,
do know.
my
Well,
compassion.
so you didn't have a car, but then once you did get a car, it
Yeah.
was the biggest piece of shit ever, and
Yeah.
it broke down on the side of the road, didn't
Yeah.
it? And you had to leave
I
it,
have
and then
bro-
you really walked.
So what's really funny is that when I finally got a car, and because at VMI, the first 2 years you can't have a car.
Okay.
Then you can get a car your junior year. I couldn't afford a car. I was gifted a car. Actually, I bought a little hatchback car for like $500 or
Okay.
something. And I got a whole story about this car. Anyway, my point is that driving back and forth, I broke down 3 times, and I have lived in each city that I broke down in later on in life.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. I broke down right here in Sarasota.
You did.
Yep, right on the interstate. Dad
Wow.
had to come bring a trailer up.
Aw, see, your dad
load
came
my,
to get you.
and it was a silent ride home. Okay. It was a silent ride home. I'll never forget it because I was like, Dad, thanks so much for fitting me. And it just was nothing. It's just like, you son of a bitch.
Well, times are
So
different.
I'm going to tell the one car
My
story
parents-
real quick because
okay.
So I had this little red like Hyundai hatchback. It was super small. I drove it all the way home. I'm about a mile from home and it starts raining. And I slide into the back of a Ford Explorer and the front of the car smashes. And it's fucked. So we end up getting it towed to the house. And I was like, I got to get home. And so the whole front end's kind of smushed. So my dad owned a crane company and we have a swamp buggy. And so we hooked the crane to the front of the car. We hooked the swamp buggy to the back of the car and we literally pulled it back out.
Are you kidding me?
I redid the little radiator fan thing, straightened it out, kind of bolted. I had like little like zip ties holding it together. I took the hood, which was like a V, and I stepped on it, smashed it out. Then I took a hammer and flattened
smashed
it,
it?
and I bungeed the hood back on, and I drove it back from Florida all the way up to Virginia. And it was like just shit's happening inside there. I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to make it back. I get all, because it's front wheel drive. Like all the engine, everything's like right there. I get to Virginia. Okay. Do you ever wonder how cars end up in the woods?
They
Okay.
get left there
I drove that car into the woods
and just left it.
and left it there. Took my license tag off,
Oh
took off
my
the VIN,
gosh.
and
You
I
have
left
told
it
me
there.
that. I remember.
And so somewhere
you-
in the backwoods of Virginia
Because if you
is that car.
Because if you took it to like a metal shop or something, like a yard.
I think that I was able to find someone to come grab it for a couple $100 of
Yeah.
scrap, but
Sometimes
I dumped it.
When the rains and the hurricanes are so bad here in Florida, there's
Yeah.
cars in the woods. They float. They are ruined, and they stay there
People
for
slide
a
off
long
the roads
time.
into the woods.
Yeah,
But they usually get towed out. I'm saying I purposefully put this in the woods
I
with a
understand.
plan never to retrieve it again. So, like, it was a well thought out plan.
You-
and as an adult, I'm sitting there going, what the hell were you thinking?
That's really unfortunate. You know, you couldn't get a ride, then you had a ride,
Tires were
then you ruined your
bald.
ride, then you left
Yeah.
your ride.
And then I was gifted a Bronco too.
really
Yeah.
by who?
Chip.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew
Yeah.
that.
It's the only thing he ever gave me in my life. Was this? And what's funny is I had an uncle who owned a junkyard. I have a whole extended side of family in West Virginia, and they had a junkyard. And I'm pretty sure this Bronco came out of the junkyard, but they put brand new tires on it.
It was like a stolen vehicle.
I mean, it ran great. I loved that car.
That's
it's
nice.
pretty cool.
I actually do remember now seeing a picture of you outside
With the Bronco
of it.
too.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
Yeah, no, I was very fortunate. I had my dad did a great deal with us, purchased a car brand new, and then drove it himself for a year. And then we were able to purchase it off of him at the Blue Book value, which cars plummet in price after they leave the lot. So, but we learned responsibility to purchase a vehicle, and he got brand new cars for a couple years in a row. And my parents always, regardless of whether or not we had a car, not only drove me up to college when I didn't have my car there, but also even when I did, they were there to help move in. You know, they were very supportive. Always.
That's very, very nice. My two younger sisters, their first cars was a Mustang and a Camaro.
Oh, so, things changed a little.
Yeah,
the ladies of the
quite
family.
a bit. My sisters, if you look at the cars that my brother and I had, we had two POSs, and we were so proud to have those things because we actually earned the money and bought those. I had a yellow pickup Ford Ranger, and we used to call it the Banana Mobile. And there's nothing more horrific than driving into the high school parking lot in Naples where half of the class lives on the beach and their parents are doctors, lawyers, developers.
And their first car
cars are sporty and nice. But me and my best friend Luke, we had I had an old yellow truck. We grew up on the other side of the tracks, and then he had this old gray station wagon. And like anytime I hear like Stone Temple Pilots and playing, like I see us like riding, and you know what? I'm gonna have to call Luke out on this. So I used to ride shotgun with Luke, right? So we were neighbors. We grew up together, and he was the first one to get of driving age. And so he was driving, and I was in the station wagon, and then we picked up these two girls on the way to school. So it was like the four of us. It was kind of like that 70s show. Like seriously, I feel like I had that kind of environment. But see, then Luke started dating Liz.
One of the girls
you were picking up. And then Liz got to sit in the shot. He's like, you got to sit in the back, bro. I'm like, what, bro?
Oh, you
no
got
way.
pushed to the
bro
back?
Code. I had to sit in the back of the station wagon.
Wow.
Yes.
He must have really been a gentleman and really liked her because even in high school, I probably, if I was a girlfriend, I think I was still in the back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I drove my very, very first car was a 1990 Buick LeSabre, which has like the lounger, like couch seats, like the Suburban does these days.
Well, that's how the station wagon was. It was like these two big couch seats, right? One in the front.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I spent 90% of my like high school childhood. Like everyone just drives around in a car.
The ceiling was like hanging down in the station wagon.
Same with mine. You know? It was fabric.
We had like pins. It's kind of like
holding it up.
It's kind of like stylish now that I think about it, like it's kind of like it's like velvet, you know, just pinned up like little buttons.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's
hilarious. The same thing happened. No wonder they changed the
but we had a car, you know, and we listened to music, and that's when we had like the car had like a cassette tape, and you'd pop this cassette tape that had a wire outside of it
that hooked to your CD
player.
hooked
to your CD player, so you could kind of push the tunes into the car.
That's real old school.
Oh gosh.
Right there.
Yeah. Kids today don't even know.
They don't even know.
They don't even know.
I know. Well, it was so wild. I don't know if we said this on this podcast last week or not, but you just discovered that we were talking about like Abigail being young and her age or whatever. And you were like, by the time Abigail is
25.
Yeah. What is your age?
No.
No. By the time she's 25. Anyway, what was it? When you were.
What I was saying is that when she's older, September 11th will be
to
her will be what like World War II is to me.
I thought it was the Korean War.
Korean War, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll call it Korean War. But so
I'm sorry, are they two different wars?
They're only 6 years apart.
Hold on, the two wars.
World War II.
Okay, I'm just
and Korean War are like 6-7 years apart.
Make sure I wasn't confused, and they weren't the same
I'm going to get
war.
you your AI history bot, and, you know.
No, I was correct.
You know, speaking of AI and UI, because of the conversation the other day, I have another project that I'm trying to get off the ground, and for a client, and I was running behind and conceptually visualizing the work that needed to be done, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to try one of these new AI UI engines,
like design, like website design.
My fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like the work is so amazing for the prompts that I gave it. Now,
well, in design is very different. Like your client asked today about development. Code and development and functionality are very different than UI UX. UI UX is purely design.
Yeah,
Like
there's
there's
a
no
creative aspect
there's
of
no
it.
functionality. There's a creative aspect, but I feel like AI has been
It's being
learning
trained on everything
for years.
and
First of all, it's scouring the web, which is full of examples
Yes.
of UI UX. It
It's-
has a much better understanding of like
this is
consolidated
why,
data of
you know,
functionality, button placement, navigation menus. Like think about how much information it has on like what's common today.
Yeah.
Like more than someone could have that should
and this
hire.
is why we are so focused on the service industry. Like I will tell you, like
Yeah.
I feel insulated because as technology improves on the service side and us providing tech for the service industry and having service businesses, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. But here's the reality.
Like home services. Yeah.
We're gonna get work because people need work done. And a lot of these other businesses, you're going to go to school, you're going to have 8 years of school under your belt, and you're actually not going to be able to pay your bills and feed your family because you're being replaced by a computer.
Right.
And so, you know what?
And I mean, could a robot clean your pool?
I'll tell you what, be a plumber, you know, go out, you're going to make serious cash. Like you're going to be a multimillionaire as a plumber, you know, be an electrician, cut grass. You want to make great money? You're like, oh, people only pay $50 for a grass cut. It's like, yeah, but you have reoccurring revenue all year long
for landscaping,
and you have a team of people.
I mean, obviously, it depends on
and
where
there'll be
you
robots
live,
soon.
But
So,
well, no. What I was going to say is that I don't think robots will be replacing the service industry because they're busy building tents on Mars.
I think we should end with that. That's pretty good.
Anyway,
look for real. If they're building their tents on Mars, there's no reason why they can't. I'm actually rethinking a lot of our strategy based off of what I'm seeing in robots. Because part of our thing was let's build a service industry and people. And I've always talked about phase 4. Like everyone knows I talk about phase 4, which is where we build this infrastructure for franchises and then robots do the actual work. But you still have to have an infrastructure in place. So it's like, hey, let's create the infrastructure knowing full well that a robot's going to be the one that actually comes into your house and is going to wipe your windows. But then I started thinking.
that's in a different lifetime than us.
I think we're going to see it. But here's the thing. My thing is predicated off of this robot showing up and doing the work. And I just read something else and it's like, this is your home robot. And it's this stuff from the Jetsons where it's like, all of a sudden, I don't need...
Rosie.
Yeah, I don't need a robot that's
Do you
going to come
believe
to
I
my
know
lawn.
the Jetsons
Or
robot's name?
a window washing or a this or that.
Because
And
their
so-
home robot does
Because
it.
they're there all the time.
And their home
they're
robot,
cleaning the
they
pool.
know. Yeah.
Yes.
They know.
And so it's got me totally rethinking our strategy for where we're going.
Yeah.
All right, we got to go. I'm depressed now.
No.
Not really.
We got time.
We got time.
Anyway, good luck to the early adopters going to Mars.
Yeah, early adopters. Yay.